All right, guys, 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started here. 25 CISSP practice questions. All right, question number 1. What is the study of computers and surrounding technologies and how they relate to crime? Put it right here. Thank you. Anybody ready? I think this is a new one, but it's I think it's pretty straightforward. Study of computers related to crime. No one?
That would be alpha.
All right, Alpha. Anyone else?
I agree.
I'm actually leaning towards Bravo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we know from cryptography the suffix ology means study, the study of something. So this is the study of computers related to crime. Unless anyone strongly disagrees and can persuade me, I'm pretty sure about this one.
I strongly disagree.
Really?
I say it's computer forensics is the study of computers and surrounding technologies and how they relate to crime.
Only
All
problem
right.
I have is I haven't seen computer criminology term
Yeah.
like at all.
All right.
So
All
no
right.
problem.
I'll take your word on it. But we'll beat you up if it's wrong. You mess up our chance at a perfect score, doggone it. All right, here we go. Number 2, your biometric system has been known to accept imposters. This is known as which type of error? Accepting imposters. This is the most dangerous. This is a layup. Go for it.
Delta.
Delta.
Delta, type 2 error. Type 1 is when authorized people are not granted access. That's a nuisance, but it's not as dangerous as when unauthorized people are granted. Number 3, a node that sends and receives at the same time can perform what type of transmission?
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Alpha.
I think alpha.
Alpha, full duplex. I agree. Number 4, Widgets Incorporated has decided to implement an industry standard for its asset security, but has discovered that it simply doesn't have some of the systems that certain provisions of the standard explicitly address. Consequently, Widgets has chosen to ignore those provisions. This is known as what? Yep, we've seen this one a couple times before.
Ready.
Go for it.
Charlie.
Charlie, scoping a standard. Anyone disagree? Yep, we said tailoring is when you modify an existing control, but scoping is when you take something out. Supplementing is when you add a control in. Number 5, which model introduced 5 levels with which the development of an organization's software process is evaluated?
I'm ready.
With which development?
Already.
Okay, go for it.
Charlie.
Charlie.
Capability maturity model is about process improvement. Is that should that really be related to software development? Software processes?
I thought it was Bravo.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about capability maturity model because that is focused on documenting business processes, not software development. So I'm thinking either Alpha or Bravo, but I'll take your lead on this one and go with Bravo, Eric, and we'll take the blame for that one. All right, number 6, Ethernet uses what type of access method? Yeah, this is one we talk about in the CyberSecStudy content, and I think we've seen it once before already. Any takers?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead and go.
Charlie.
Charlie, carrier sense multi-access.
No, I'm sorry. It's actually Alpha. I misread that. It's detection first.
Actually, no. It would be CSMA/D would be for detection. It is carrier sense multi access. It is CSMA. It would be /D if it was just detection. So if multiple devices on the Ethernet network want to communicate at the same time to prevent collisions, you use the CSMA. With token ring networks, you use a token to prevent collisions. So I'll take the heat on that one. Number 7, why is a truly quantitative risk analysis not possible to achieve? We've talked about this in the past.
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Delta.
Anyone else?
I concur.
Yep, same here. And ISC squared, from their perspective, a purely quantitative risk analysis is not possible because you're going to have some qualitative elements in there. No getting around it. Number 8, there are different binary mathematical functions. Which of the following is a true rule of the exclusive OR function? So when you XOR 2 bits together, if I need my doggone book up to confirm this, but if the 2 binary digits are the same, it equals a 1 or a 0. If the 2 binary digits are different, it equals a 1 or a 0. And I don't recall exactly. I think if they're the same, it's a 0, and if they're different, it's a 1.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, then delta would be true here. I kind of want to effort this one though, because I don't want to. I don't want to get this one wrong. Give me just a second. And I gave my last printed book out to someone. I could have looked it up there really quick. And I'm not seeing anything, so I'm gonna, let's see. Hold up, I think I see something here. Yeah, if they're different, it's a 1. If they're the same, it's a 0. So Bravo 1 XOR against 1 equals a 1. So they're the same, so it's a 1. That's wrong. Charlie 0 XOR against another 0, they're the same. So it's a 1, but that's wrong. It should be a 0. And then Delta 1 XOR against 0, they're different, so it's the one. It's a 1. That one is correct. And this is we go into pretty good detail on XOR function in our CyberSecStudy boot camps. But that is at the core of how encryption takes place. You take bits from an encryption key, compare them to the bits of your message. The first bit of the encryption key, if it's a 1 or a 0, against the first bit of your message, if it's a 1 or a 0, and you XOR. If they're the same, it's a 0. If they're different, it's a 1. All right, number 9, how do you calculate residual risk? This is a formula that we have in our course material.
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Delta.
Yep. Anyone else? I concur with that. Threats times vulnerabilities times asset value, all multiplied by controls gap. And some formulas require mathematical computation, and some don't. They're just theoretical, and this is one of the theoretical ones. All right, number 10, a high-level programming language. Yeah, this one's a little tricky, but I know in general, the higher the programming language, the more intelligent the languages are, and I know the less amount of code. We're trying to make it easier for software developers. So for that reason, I'm leaning towards alpha. Anyone else agree or disagree?
I agree.
All right, this one's on my neck. Number 11, which of the following was not designed to mitigate IPv4 address space running out? Not designed. Oh yeah, we've seen this one before. This is pretty straightforward.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Bravo.
Bravo, loopback addressing was not designed to. So with IPv4 32 bits, there's a finite number of IP addresses, and with the Internet of Things and everything is freaking is networked now. We're running out of IP addresses. So NATing, network address translation, the implementation of that technology staved off the implementation of IPv6. IPv6 is designed to take over for IPv4. It has 128 bits, so they say there's a number. You can have as many IP addresses as there are grains of sand on the planet, and then private address space. That sounds to me like NATing. All right. Number 12, a disaster recovery team has begun its initial assessment of all physical security risks and associated countermeasures. There are several factors to consider. Which should bear the most weight? Oh, yes. This is one you have got to get right on the exam.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Ready.
Alpha.
Alpha.
Alpha, yeah.
The protection of life, always. Alert people first before you hit an alarm system. If you're in a burning building, you would think by hitting the alarm system alert people, but if the answer is notify people, alert people, select them. All right, number 13. What is a pretext? We've seen this one several times.
Ready.
Yeah, go for it.
Charlie.
Charlie, false scenario presented to an employee by an attacker with the intent to socially engineer the employee into violating security controls on the attacker's behalf. 14, which of the following is the best definition of equal error rate, EER, which is the same thing as crossover error rate, CER? This one's a layup.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Ready.
Alpha.
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 Type 1 error equals a type 2 error. This is like the balance knob in a stereo system. Every biometric device has this CER or EER, where you can adjust the sensitivity level of the biometric reader. Number 15, in a heated debate between the IT department, operations department, and finance department, the issue of who owns the financial data in question is raised. Of the entities listed, which is the most likely the owner of this data? Or who is most likely the owner of this data? IT, operations, or finance? Who owns the financial data?
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Bravo.
Bravo. Finance business unit manager. If they had senior management as an option, you would choose the higher level manager, not just the business unit manager. But that's the highest one they give us. Number 16, Keith installs a freeware photo utility on his home computer so that he can manipulate his vacation pictures. Days after installing the program, he notices advertisements popping up periodically on his computer, even if the utility is not running. What are these called?
I'm ready.
Yeah, go for it.
Bravo.
Bravo, adware. Pop-ups. 17, the value of hearsay evidence is dependent upon the blank of the source. Hearsay.
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Alpha.
No, it's actually Charlie.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm actually leaning towards delta, the amount and content. I'm thinking the content of the hearsay evidence. But yeah, this one's pretty tricky. Anyone else? Oh boy, and I think we have seen this one before. I'll take the hit for this one, guys. Amount and content. I think that's what it is, but we'll see.
Well, back up. I think it's Charlie.
Charlie, yes.
Motivation.
And the reason behind that is because the amount of evidence, and I would agree with the content, but the amount of evidence sort of makes me think about the value of the hearsay evidence being the motivation in the background. But you're right. Now I'm beginning to think, well.
You're talking yourself out of it.
Well, let me say this. Charlie's the one because motivation and background is the reason why hearsay evidence isn't admissible in court anyway.
Of course, yeah.
All right, you sound very convincing. So this will now rest on your shoulder.
Oh, great. Thanks, Donald. That usually means I lost.
You sound very convincing. We'll see. That one's a bit tricky though. All right, 18. When crafting a technical security report for management, how long should the executive summary be and what should it contain? We've seen this one before. This is a layup.
Ready.
Go for it.
Charlie.
All right, anyone else? It's actually alpha, which is very similar to Charlie.
Yeah.
It should be no more than 2 pages and highlight only what senior leaders need to understand. This is for a report for management. So management would not want to hear about technical details.
I concur.
All right, number 19. You are trying to implement a strong authentication system. Which one of the following would be the appropriate system to implement? Yeah, this was a layup.
I'm ready.
Go for it. Delta.
Well, strongest would be Bravo, but I said Delta. Yeah.
Yeah, for strong authentication involves at least 2 of the 3 factors of authentication.
Multi-factor.
Yeah, multi-factor. But don't make the mistake if it's something you have is like a smart card or a token, and they give you a smart card and a token as options. That's not strong authentication because it's 2 of the same type. You need 1 of or 2 of the, at least 2 of the 3. Something you have, something you know, something you are. 2 separate ones of those 3. All right, number 20, who has the primary responsibility of determining the classification level of information?
Ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, go for it.
Bravo.
Bravo.
The owner of the information. I agree. Number 21, when would an investigator's notebook be admissible in court? An investigator's notebook. I don't think we've seen this one before. I'm kind of leaning towards one. Anyone else?
Alpha.
That's the one I'm thinking. Anybody disagree? When he uses it to refresh his memory? Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll go with that then.
That sounds as good as any.
Yeah. 22, which of the following sections of a technical security report is the most critical to include? Technical security report. Yeah, I think we've seen this one before. We got pulled in to the first 3, which are pretty much the same in my opinion. So I'm leaning towards Delta, the recommended actions you would take.
I concur.
All right. 23, hiring new employees requires strict security controls that must be constantly reviewed and audited. Which of the following controls would not be associated with personnel hiring?
Ready.
Yeah, we've seen this one. Layup. Go for it.
Bravo.
Bravo, least privilege. Background checks, definitely. Drug screening, definitely. And non-disclosure agreements, definitely. 24, the Widget World Corporation has a business continuity plan that provides for an alternate processing site that will accommodate 50% of the primary processing facility's processing capability. Having ascertained this, what is Widget World's best next step?
Ready?
All right, go for it.
I think it's Bravo.
Yeah,
Leaning towards Charlie.
that one looks inviting. Bravo and Charlie, I think. And we've seen this one before. I just don't recall exactly which one we selected. So 50%.
Yeah, I was leaning toward Charlie.
Yeah, me too.
Ensure that all critical applications have been identified and that the alternate site can handle all such applications. So just the critical stuff. So Charlie is essentially saying identify the critical stuff and forget about the others. Bravo is saying identify applications that can be processed at the alternate site and then develop manual procedures for the rest. I kind of like that. We're taking everything into account then. I think Charlie implies that we just focus on what's critical.
Part of BIA is, identify critical business functions. That includes applications. So I'm going with Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got concurrence on that one, right? So Derek, this one's on you, buddy. All right, last one. 25. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a strong stream cipher? Stream cipher implies that's one where XOR function is used for stream ciphers because you're streaming bits at a time. It's not a block cipher. XOR function does not work with block ciphers.
I'm going with Charlie.
I'm ready.
Not a characteristic of strong
I
stream.
agree. Stream ciphers are for hardware. I remember. So Charlie would be the answer here.
All right.
I concur.
Okay. We've got two folks on this one. We've been doing pretty good here lately, so I hope we can keep this going. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, computer forensics. You guys are right about that one. I was stuck on that study in ology. Computer forensics is a field that specializes in understanding and properly extracting evidence from computers and peripheral devices for the purpose of prosecution. Collection of this type of evidence requires a skill set and understanding of several relative laws. Type 2 error was easy when biometric system rejects an authorized individual is called type 1. False rejection. Someone was falsely rejected. They should have been accepted, but they were falsely rejected. When the system accepts imposters who should be rejected, it is called a type 2 error or false acceptance. They were falsely accepted when they should have been rejected. The goal is to obtain low numbers for each type of error, but type 2 errors are the most dangerous and thus the most important to avoid. Full duplex transmissions allow end users to send and receive data at the same time without interruptions or collisions, like a telephone call with someone else versus a walkie-talkie conversation would be half duplex. Scoping is the process of reducing the breadth of provisions within a standard that must be considered in practice by an organization in light of the actual technologies it deploys. Yeah, wow, you guys are right about this one. That does not seem right to me, though. The capability and maturity model features 5 maturity levels that serve as a foundation for conducting continuous process improvement, yeah, and as an ordinal scale for measuring the maturity of the organization involved in the software processes. I thought this was dealing with software development. It does say the development of an
The
organization's
wording.
software process. Okay, so this is speaking to their
Yeah, the wording. Yeah, the development could have, but the key word for me was the 5 levels, and CMMI has 5 levels. I forget, it was initial, or optimize. I think it was the last one. 3 other one in there.
defined is one
Repeatable, I
of them.
think.
But the key word here for me is software process. CMMI is all about process improvement and defining processes, documenting the processes, um, making them mandatory that they're implemented a certain way, then developing metrics to measure the implementation of those processes, and then continuously trying to improve upon those processes. So, yeah, I think my reasoning was right. I just didn't focus on that word process in the question. All right.
Now, this one was my fault. I'm the one who talked you into ideal.
Yeah, no, I was dead set on that too myself. All right, Ethernet uses carrier sense multiple access with collision detection, CSMA/CD, which monitors transmissions actively on the wire. A computer that wants to transmit data will listen to see if the line is clear before putting data onto the wire. This is done to help avoid collisions. During a risk analysis, the team is trying to properly predict the future and all the risks that future may bring. It is somewhat subjective exercise, and educated guessing must take place. You must have some qualitative elements in there. Yeah, XOR is an operation that is applied to 2 bits and is a function commonly used in binary mathematics and encryption methods. When combining the bits, if both values are the same, the result is 0. If the bits are different from each other, the result is 1. The equation is more conceptual than it is practical. We said all that. That was pretty easy. Yeah, we guessed this one right. High level or high order languages are employed in order to write software in English-like statements. In these languages, one statement usually requires a number of machine language instructions for its implementation. Therefore, unlike assembly language, there is a one-to-many relationship between high-level instructions to machine level or machine language instructions. Network address translation and RFC 1918 private addressing were designed to reduce the use of IPv4 routing addresses, and IPv6 has an expanded address space, and eventually we're all going to have to move to IPv6. Companies have an obligation to protect life first before any other resource. Pretexting is a social engineering technique designed to leverage an employee's trust relationship and usual workflows in order to convince them to do something that is both unusual and detrimental. Crossover or equal error rate is another name for crossover error rate. We've seen this one before. Type 1 and type 2, where they equal each other. Most businesses, senior management delegates data ownership to business unit managers or department heads. It is their responsibility to classify the data. Adware is the source of much controversy. That's pretty easy layup there. Yeah, we were kind of on the fence on this one. Veracity and competence. Hearsay evidence is considered secondhand and unreliable evidence unless it has been deemed reliable and trustworthy. Thus, its value depends upon the veracity and competence of its source. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that one before that one sticks.
That was mine too. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of mixed up on that one. Yeah, this one was a pretty easy. The senior level management is unlikely to be willing to read more than a page or two of a technical report and do not need technical details. The three authentication approaches are something you know, something you have, something you are. Strong authentication, also called two-factor authentication, requires two out of these three. Three-factor authentication is also strong authentication. A company can have one specific data owner or different data owners who have been delegated the responsibility of protecting specific sets of data. One of the responsibilities that goes into protecting this information is properly classifying it. Yeah, we guessed right on this one. Notes that are taken by an investigator will in most cases not be admissible in court as evidence. It is not seen as reliable information and can only be used by the investigator to help him remember activities during the investigation. I think of Comey. Was it Comey that had notes? He took detailed notes and used them to refresh his memory. Following technology reports is most critical to include, the recommended action. So threats and vulnerabilities along with the various probabilities and impacts of exploitation are certainly required in any technical security report. However, without advice with respect to remediation of material weaknesses, the report has little to no value to the enterprise. So you're either going to remediate, which is remove altogether, or mitigate risk, the weakness, and that's just reducing it. Least privilege is a control to be implemented after the hire is made. Oh, what was this one? Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards this one just because it included both. Even though this, Charlie said critical applications, I think it's implied if you identify the applications that can be processed at the alternate site, there may be some critical applications that can't be processed there, but if you have a manual procedure for them, it may not be as efficient and effective, but at least you're still doing it. Business continuity plans should only provide for the recovery of critical systems, some processing that cannot take place through automation may need to take place manually. And for a stream cipher to be strong against cryptanalysis attacks, it should contain the other mentioned characteristics. Block ciphers work better in software implementations because they work with blocks of data. Stream ciphers work better with hardware because they work with 1 bit at a time and are resource intensive. That XOR function is used with stream ciphers. All right, that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for attending. We'll see.
Real quick, I do have something to interject.
Okay.
I strongly recommend anyone who's going to take the test to go to CISSP.org and go ahead and download the certification exam outline as a part of your study guide. That will tell you exactly what's going to be on the exam. And with Donald's test preparation material, read along with that and study that. That will help you so much in passing the exam.
Did you do that, Lynn? Did you do that, Lynn, or did you before you took the exam, or did you find that afterwards?
No. I definitely use that.
Okay.
I definitely use the certification exam outline. As of this recording, the date will be effective date April 2018. And it has the outline of all the domains and the specifics in regards to that. Again, that's on the ISC2.org website. There's some other things that they have too, like free flashcards and some other additional information. They have a glossary there if you have difficulty with words, as far as their definition of the words. So it's very useful to take your study material and go line by line as far as the domains go and line it up with what they say is going to be on the exam.
Right. Okay. And this is coming from someone who studied for what, 4 or 5 months, was it, Lynn?
Yes, through great difficulty. Great difficulty. It was not easy at all. Yeah.
Yep. So great advice. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yep. Go to ISC2.com. I think is the address. But yeah, if you haven't gone there before, go ahead and go there and register, and they have a lot of resources that are available for free.
Hey, Donald, I'm gonna call my attorney tomorrow and find out about hearsay evidence. I'm curious now.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep. Let me know.
Anyway.
All right, guys.
I will.
Here. Have a good one.